You're listening to the BBM Global Network with 25 years in broadcast audio and video production. Our passionate team creates content and marketing for the world of Internet Talk Radio. If you've got a passion, come join us at bbmglobalnetwork.com. The BBM Global Network. Your voice is now heard.
Welcome to The Oracle, a voice of positive planetary change with your host, Dr. Aurora Juliana Ariel. Listen as Aurora brings good news to an awakening world and sacred healing using powerful and transformational tools. So now, please welcome the host of The Oracle, Dr. Aurora Ariel.
Aloha and welcome to the Oracle, a voice of positive planetary change. I'm your host, Dr. Aurora Juliana Ariel, and we're broadcasting live across the planet on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Thank you so much for joining me today. We have an exciting show. The topic is Evolutionary Astrology, how to use astrology and gems to enhance and empower your life. My guest is an amazing astrologer and gemologist, Shakti Navran. She lives on the island of Maui and has been a great friend for many years. I'm really excited about all that she's coming to share with us today because it's an area many people don't know of, and it can really help enhance our lives if we use some of the tools that she's going to give us. On Maui, we had this most amazing authors group for some years, and it was incredibly supportive to four of us women who made great headway in bringing out a host of offerings for Awakening World. And at that time, I was just releasing my first book in the Earth 2012 to 33 series, The Ultimate Quest, How to Find Peace in a World of Chaos, and my first solo music CD, Renaissance of Grace. So it was amazing to get all of their support as I was editing and getting my first little babies out to the world. Since then, I have just been a woman on fire. I've released 34 life-transforming books, music, and audio CDs. And I'm really excited to announce today, because I just got these uploaded to go out to the world, I have a new 33 CD healing activation collection that will be available worldwide in the spring equinox. So I'm really excited, and there's lots more to come. Let me tell you a little bit about my amazing, illustrious guest. Shakti Navran has been a professional evolutionary astrologer for 40 years. She is a certified master student with Steven Forrest, one of the founders of Evolutionary Astrology. She has been a jeweler, evolutionary, and intuitive astrologer, and a published author with Llewellyn for many years. She writes a column about lunar astrology for the monthly publication of Maui Mama Magazine, and is one of the presenters of Astro Hub. Shakti does individual birth chart counseling online and forecasts, relationship readings, parenting astrology, vocational astrology, counseling, and astrocartography. Her book, Jewelry and Gems for Self-Discovery, Choosing Gemstones That Delight the Eyes and Strengthen the Soul, was published in 2008 by Llewellyn. So that's about the time we were all coming together in our group. In the book, she teaches you how to read your personal horoscope and blueprint for your life, and how you can balance and heal yourself accordingly through consciousness and anchoring it with the frequency of gems. So I'm really excited to have you on today, Shakti, and you're making me miss Mother Maui. I'd love to be over there with you. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Aloha, Aurora. I'm so excited to be with you.
Yeah, so great to have you here. And you're just an amazing wealth of wisdom. I remember being at your home so many times, and you had all the gems and creation of beautiful jewelry for people so that they could help harmonize, I guess, the astrology they were dealing with. And I guess you're going to tell us a little bit more about that, of when people are going through difficult passages and how to use the gems. But right now, let's start with the basics. I don't even know this, and I love astrology. What is evolutionary astrology all about?
Yeah, well, that's always a good question to ask, because obviously many people know a little bit about astrology. At least everybody knows their sun sign. I'm a Taurus. I'm a Leo. What were you? What was your sun sign?
Oh, you're asking me. Okay, I'm Virgo. I have like Virgo. 1 degree Virgo, 1 toe in Virgo.
So everybody knows their sun sign. So everybody knows a little bit about astrology, but a lot of people have a very vague idea about it. So evolutionary astrology is a very special way to look into somebody's chart. So what we're assuming, we evolutionary astrologer, is that we are all souls on this eternal journey of waking up and growing into higher states of consciousness. And the evolutionary astrology looks at the personal birth chart, your horoscope, in the moment of your birth, and it looks at that being coming into life from a karmic perspective, from a soul's perspective. So we look at everything you bring with you in the way of, this is your blueprint, this is your lesson plan for this lifetime, this is what you're going to work with. But, of course, how you use those potentials showing up in your chart, that's not set in stone. This is where your individual freedom comes in. But, of course, that freedom depends on your state of consciousness. That's the key. Mm-hmm. So as an astrologer, I can get very specific about what this lifetime is about, what the trauma is or the healing you need to do. So we can look at that. But what I can't see is what you're doing with it. So I can't tell if you are an Adolf Hitler or another person who has the same chart. And we assume Charlie Chaplin has almost the same birth chart than Adolf Hitler. So, and see how different they worked, the potential they had available. So this is where evolutionary astrology comes in and gives you an idea of what are the potentials I'm looking at and what is the low-end way of possible manifestation and what is a high-end possibility of manifestations. So having an evolutionary astrology reading just makes things very clear and connects the dots of a lot of things you know about yourself, about your personality and your struggles and challenges. And it just connects them in a different way. And with that, I mean, I have seen it again and again. It can really change somebody's life. So it's very exciting. Very happy to be able to do this work.
It sounds fascinating because I know a lot of people want to know what's their destiny, what is their soul purpose, why are they here? But I find it really extraordinary to hear you saying that Charlie Chaplin and Adolf Hitler had the same charts, yet as an astrologer, you wouldn't be able to tell any elements in there why Adolf would go on the dark side and Charlie would want to bring happiness to humanity. Why is that? How can they have two charts the same, be such opposite personalities? Now I'm going to have you hold with that question because we're going to come to the break right now, and afterwards I really have to decipher this mystery, so I hope you're going to be able to answer. But for now, everybody, I hope you're tuning in, and so glad you're with us here on the Oracle, a voice of positive planetary change. I'm your host, Dr. Aurora Juliana Ariel, and I have the feeling on this glorious spring day that we just could be broadcasting across the universe on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. So I can't wait to hear what Shakti has to say about my question and more. So stay tuned.
Have you been dreaming of that ideal getaway? A sacred adventure where you are completely restored and renewed. Join Dr. Aurora Juliana Ariel for her Mastery Intensive Red Rock Adventure in Sedona in May, or the Oracle Sacred Destiny Cruise through the ancient temples of Italy, Greece, and Turkey in September. Want to know what to expect in the coming times? Read her award-winning Earth 2012 to 33 books. Sign up for her newsletter to stay abreast of all her offerings, healing specials, Earth 2012 to 33 updates, insights from the Oracle, secrets of eternal youth, and more at aurorajulianaariel.com. Ready to realize a greater potential? Experience her 33-day self-actualization programs, healing music for an awakening world, or healing activations available under products. Ready for a total life transformation? Sign up for her one-year program. Want a distance healing from Aurora? Check out her virtual healing center with its wide array of healing modalities and skilled healers under Healing Menu at sacredalchemy.com.
Welcome back to the Oracle, a voice of positive planetary change. I'm your host, Dr. Aurora Juliana Ariel, and I am so thrilled to be bringing you the good news of what's happening behind the scenes and all the glorious things taking place on Earth today. We're broadcasting live across the planet on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio, and I have a most amazing and very interesting guest, Shakti Navran, who's an amazing astrologer and gemologist, and she just told me that Hitler and Charlie Chaplin have the same astrology, the same chart, and that somehow astrologers can't tell, I guess, what we're going to do with our life package with our astrology. So I want to ask you more about that, Shakti. Why? Tell me more.
Well, thank God that's the case, because otherwise, if the horoscope really shows predictions, like the future is set in stone, you're going to get married when you're 24, you're going to get divorced when you're 28, you're going to have 2 children, end of story. So if that would be really the case, then we wouldn't have as much fun, and where's our personal freedom and growth in that? So I kind of are more biased in the direction that we have freedom of will, but it's dependent on our consciousness. That's why all predictions done by certain astrologers, they have maybe a 5 to 10% bullseye. So with the example we were talking about earlier, the almost the same birth chart of Adolf Hitler and Charlie Chaplin is a good example, because the birth chart just shows the potential you have, the lesson plan for this lifetime. And of course, if you go to school, all the different students in the class, they will apply the knowledge they gain there in a different way. Some will find it easy, some will be resistant and struggle with it. So the birth chart just can always express itself in the world of manifestation in very different ways. So basically what we're looking at with the chart is a system of symbols, of archetypes. And they can all show up in a low-end way of manifestations, as I call it, or a high-end way of manifestations. And that's what we see with Charlie Chaplin and Adolf Hitler. One took the dark way, the other one made us laugh and happy. So what a different choice to do with what they had.
Well, they both were... Oh, sorry. Okay, go ahead. I'll defer to my guest.
I said they even looked a little bit the same, with the same kind of mustache.
You're right. Yeah, so but would an astrologer been able to read that this is a soul that is going to be in the public eye, that they could be known or they would be known?
Yeah, that stuff you can definitely see in a chart. But if you are a person who contribute to the overall well-being, to the light and the good in the world, or if it's a person who goes the dark path, there are hints in the chart, But as I said, the future is not set in stone. So there were choices, and going to Adolf Hitler, I know he had some time when he was applying for an art school in Austria, and he got rejected. So there were always thoughts out there in Germany, where I'm from, that if he would have gotten in the art school, history would have been different.
Yeah, maybe
so
the other creative side and poetic side of his nature would come forward.
Exactly. So we all have those choices, those crossroads we're hitting. And astrology, and an astrology reading, gives you so much more awareness of the choices you have. That's why I say the reading can really help you to thrive in your life, because you are so much more aware how to deal with challenges and how to bring the potentials you have to the highest unfoldment, highest expression.
So I'm hearing you say that you really can't tell the future, and yet you get hints, right? Like if you were doing somebody's yearly chart, wouldn't you get some hints, like a potentiality? Like let's say they're coming more to the public eye, or they're going to be creative that year, or...
Yes, absolutely. So I do forecast readings. Usually for people, I have done the birth chart reading beforehand. And in the forecast reading, I look a year ahead, and I look into where are they in their evolution. What is coming at them in the way of themes and activations. But only something they carry already as potential in their chart can be activated. So that's why all forecasts are always based on the birth chart again. So we look what's going on in the coming year, which area in your life is activated. Do you have to take care for your health? Is there support for becoming more abundant and successful in the world? So all these things you can see, but I cannot see how you use those potentials. Like I had a client once, he had all this support to really become more successful in his professional life. So I told him, you can ask for a raise, you can look for a better paid job in a different company or advance in your current company. He was in the corporate world. And next year he came back and said, nothing happened, I didn't make more money. And I said, did you ask for it? And he said, no. So that was a missing link. So we have to apply ourselves. We have to be knowledgeable about how we can best use those activations. So no, the future is not set in stone, but there are a lot of activations coming our way, and if we know about them, I always say it's like, imagine the planets as gods and goddesses coming knocking at your door. And it's a good image to hold that there are certain activations coming our way, and if we know what kind of activations those potentials are and hold, then we can consciously act on them and get towards the manifestation we would like to see.
This is so helpful, Shakti. Thank you so much. I mean, I can see now what you're saying. And I want to delve into another topic when we get back here momentarily. I'd like to go into love and finding the perfect mate, and I know so many people are interested in that today. So I want you all to just stay tuned with me. We're on the Oracle, a voice of positive planetary change, broadcasting live on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Oracle, a voice of positive planetary change. We're broadcasting live across the planet on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio, and I'm your host, Dr. Aurora Juliana Ariel, with a very special guest today who's highly skilled in the art of astrology and gemology, Shakti Navran, and she's been really bringing some enlightening information. And what I want to know now, Shakti, is let's delve into the area of love. And I know so many people come to astrologers because they want to know, when is my mate coming? You know, when am I getting married? So could you speak on that?
Well, and they also want to know what is the right mate to look for. What's the right sign? And of course, that is a little bit superficial. If you are a Taurus and somebody tells you, oh, you should find a Virgo or Capricorn because they're also earth signs. It's not wrong, but we can go so much deeper with astrology. So first of all, in the birth chart, we see what you need in a relationship. We see what your heart needs. And for that, we look at the goddess of Venus. So everybody knows goddess Venus, the goddess of love, harmony, and beauty. So you want to have a look at your personal Venus and where it stands, and that will give you a lot of information how much harmony or excitement you need in a relationship. And people have actually really different needs. So I had a reading the other day with a couple, did a couple reading for them, and she had a Venus in Gemini. And I told him, and we had all a good laugh, I said, if you ever want to get rid of her, just bore her to death. And they both cracked up. So we can tell a lot by the Venus position of a person. But then, of course, when you have a partnering horoscope you look at, you want to make sure that the Venus positions are in harmony with each other. And if they're not, then you want to know what are the differences, so you get a better understanding on to be more respectful and understanding where the other person is coming from. Mm-hmm. And then I also look at the moon. So the moon is standing symbolically for our world of feelings, for our inner world, for the Divine Mother, for the inner child. So basically the moon talks about what we need in order to feel happy and comfortable. So of course you can imagine that in relating with another person, the moon plays a big role in how comfortable we feel with somebody else and how nurtured we feel. So especially in the chart of a man, Moon and Venus will give us a lot of information about what he is more or less consciously looking for in a woman. So even if all the planets represent inner parts in our own personality, but parts of those we project outwards. And especially in the relationship dance, we do that. So a man in tendency will project out his Moon and his Venus. And if he is with a woman who is totally different in who she is than what the Moon and Venus in the man's chart is symbolizing, he's going to try to change her. And we know that's not very successful in the long run. So in the chart of a woman, we look at the Sun and the Mars as a symbol for what the perfect mate is looking like. So Sun is symbolically standing for our center of identity, for how we process our life force, how we shine into the world. And Mars is really our life force in a very physical way. That's why we associate sexual energy with Mars. And it's really the warrior spirit, the archetype of maleness. So in a woman's chart, we can tell a lot about what she will feel attracted to by looking at her Sun and her Mars, even if part of that she will be expressing and living herself. And then, of course, if we go deeper, for example, my husband and I have my Sun in Taurus, so I'm grounded and practical. And so I probably could not be together with somebody who's very Piscean, like totally with the head in the clouds, not very grounded. So thank God my husband has his ascendant, his rising sign in Taurus. So we have a very practical ground there with a lot of ways how we deal in daily life. We have a very similar approach to things. So there's a certain harmony flowing between my Sun and his ascendant. And then my Moon, to continue with the Moon example, my Moon is in Aquarius. So I'm a little weird, I'm colorful, I do all these different things outside the mainstream, we could say. And his Moon is in Libra. which is also a sign of air, the sign where it's all about balance and harmony. So our moon signs are in what we call a trine, which is a harmonious flow between it. So even if we are different, we harmonize well with the difference. Mm-hmm. So that's just a good way to look at all the information we can gather out of a chart about what's our true mate, what are we looking for. And sometimes I say to somebody, you really need somebody who is willing to commit. You need a safety zone. You need somebody who walks his talk. You're not somebody who is into one-night stands and an open relationship. And then there are other people who do need that kind of freedom and excitement and always new people. So the birth chart will give us a lot of information. And then, of course, if you have somebody you're already together with, then a relationship reading can go a long way to understand each other better and to have more respect and actually deeper love. And especially when we add the karmic dimension into it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think relationship astrology is really exciting.
It's fascinating. I mean, really fascinating. And I'm going to have you share with me what my Venus in Libra might mean in the third house in regards to what type of mate would be good for me, because I've never looked at it from that perspective. This, as all these years of loving astrology, I've really never heard that. So when we get back, I hope you'll fill me in on that. We're about to go to the break here. So everybody, thank you for being with us and staying with us, and we have so much more great things to come. And you've been listening to The Oracle, a voice of positive planetary change, broadcasting on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Aurora Juliana Ariel, with Shakti Navran, and we're excited to tell you more. So stay tuned, and we're going to be right back.
Have you been dreaming of that ideal getaway? A sacred adventure where you are completely restored and renewed. Join Dr. Aurora Juliana Ariel for her Mastery Intensive Red Rock Adventure in Sedona in May, or the Oracle Sacred Destiny Cruise through the ancient temples of Italy, Greece, and Turkey in September. Want to know what to expect in the coming times? Read her award-winning Earth 2012-33 books. Sign up for her newsletter to stay abreast of all her offerings, healing specials, Earth 2012-33 updates, insights from the Oracle, secrets of eternal youth, and more at aurorajulianaariel.com. Ready to realize a greater potential? Experience her 33-day self-actualization programs, healing music for an awakening world, or healing activations available under products. Ready for a total life transformation? Sign up for her one-year program. Want a distance healing from Aurora? Check out her virtual healing center with its wide array of healing modalities and skilled healers under healing menu at sacredalchemy.com.
Aloha, everybody. Thanks for staying with us on this amazing conversation about evolutionary astrologer, love, and how to find your perfect mates, what we've been going into, and my guest, Shakti Navran. You're listening to The Oracle, a voice of positive planetary change on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. And I'm your host, Dr. Aurora Juliana Ariel. So before the break, I just asked Shakti, what does it mean that I have Venus in Libra in my third house? Because she's talking about the Venus placement is showing what we need from our mate. And I never ever heard this before. As all the years I've been delving into my astrology, I never heard it put that way. So, Shakti, I'd love to hear if piece together my little puzzle.
Hey, do you have any aspects to your Venus?
Yeah, it's conjuncted with Neptune in Libra in my fourth house, so they're kind of saddling that, and a little bit wider conjunct with Saturn. So it's 17 degrees, and Saturn, maybe it's too wide. It's 4 degrees Scorpio, but the Venus and the Neptune are like 22 and 23 degrees. Isn't that amazing? I remember my degrees.
You are amazing. So anyway, it's a really good question. So let's use you as an example here. So the Venus in conjunction with Neptune makes you a very, very compassionate and truly loving person, as we know you are. So Neptune is actually called the higher octave of Venus. So Neptune connects us to the collective field, the divine, something which is bigger than just our own ego identity. So when Neptune conjuncts with Venus, the ruler of the heart, and that willingness to open and feel the connection, so they go very, very well together. So then in the third house, it's all about communication. So here for you doing the work you're doing and the amazing amount of work you're doing, that's, I think, part of that, what's driving you. It's that Venus Neptune conjunction. So you really are a lover. You want to bring higher meaning out there to the world. So you're finding your voice around love, around compassion and that higher connection. So I always like to talk in my forecast and also in my readings about the metaphor Carl Jung used to use. He talks about we are all waves in the ocean. So it's a good image to hold that if I'm a wave in the ocean, and he talks about the top of the wave as being our consciousness, our self-identity, and then the belly of the wave as our unconsciousness. And then he talks about the ocean the wave is coming out of as the collective consciousness. So nowadays we call that the morphogenetic field, all that is God, the divine, ultimate consciousness. So in all cultures we have names for that. And you with your Venus-Neptune, you have a big channel going all the way down from your consciousness, from the top of the wave, all the way down into the ocean. So this is why you have such a big heart, and you devoted your life to helping humankind. I mean, I have watched you over the years. I mean, you have such a discipline and such a drive. So that's the overall picture. But what you're looking for in a mate, to get more concrete, is that you want to share that. You need to have somebody who you can be still with. You can connect together into the ocean of consciousness. So basically that means you need somebody who's on a spiritual path. You need somebody you can share that with, that passion, that love, and somebody who supports you in finding your voice in the world. That's the third house. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, it's very true. I love you all very, very, very much. And I love bringing out the good news to humanity and tools and healing, and a whole global mission has come out of that love, as you were saying, Shakti. And I didn't know that. I didn't see it that way, but it's true. I feel like I'm a vessel of divine love and healing and blessing to the world, an oracle, bringing out the higher divine messages and assistance, and always creating more and more offerings to help actualize potentials and people realize their higher destinies. And I get so much joy in that. I mean, I'm so excited, when I work with a student for a year and watch them blossom and watch them actualize their potential. I get really excited when I see my friends just blossoming. And so the whole Garden of Eden and everyone actualizing their potential and being their true potential selves, that's one of the things in this life that give me the greatest joy. And I love it. And I guess you're right. I'm just a woman on fire, creating more and more things to help everybody and bless everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so whenever we have a connection with Neptune and Venus, what we're looking for in a mate is really that quality of beingness together. So either it's really you are consciously together on a spiritual path, or you just have that quality, like you're sitting in front of a fireplace and you just watch the flames. It's actually one of the oldest meditations we have is sitting in front of a fire, I believe. So you need to have that quality with your mate. That's what you're looking for.
Yes, and I guess that makes a very special person, someone that is spiritual and conscious and self-actualizing, but also grounded in the world, not like flighty and floaty. And I thank you so much for all those insights. And I have some more questions for you that I think everyone will enjoy finding out about. I have so been enjoying everything you're sharing, Shakti. And of course, it's such an amazing joy for us to be together and get to do something together, because we've supported each other in our missions, but here we are, like we get to do something together. So, okay, everyone, you've been listening to The Oracle, a voice of positive planetary change. I'm your host, Dr. Aurora Juliana Ariel on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio with Shakti Navran. And wow, she's got a wealth of wisdom to share, and we're going to be finding out more just right after the break, so stay tuned. Welcome back to The Oracle, a voice of positive planetary change, broadcasting live on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Aurora Juliana Ariel, with my amazing guest, Shakti Navran, an incredible evolutionary astrologer and gemologist. And we are delving deeply into aspects of astrology I didn't even know, and I'm excited about that. So, Shakti, I'd like to know more. I mean, you're an expert in healing gems, gemstones, how to use it in astrology. Fill us in, because I know they do that in the East, and I haven't seen too much of it here in the West. So I'm excited to learn about how to do that, why we want to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So, everybody, or at least a lot of women, know their so-called birthstones. And I always kind of chuckle about it, because it's an invention of the Jewelers Guild, that it's just a marketing strategy. Because most of the birthstones they tell you are your birthstone, astrologically speaking, are not right on. So, but there are true birthstones, because each gemstone is a collection, or has a signature, we can say, has its own personality, created out of the chemical composition, the crystal structure, the light they're reflecting, the color they carry. So we can relate the gemstones through the chakra system, the colors of the chakras, or we can relate the gemstones through our personal chart. And then for each planet, we can find the perfect gemstone, which is really having the exact signature, which will bring a perfect balanced frequency into our energy field, because it's going right to that spot. So that's why gemstone can balance and harmonize our energy body. I mean, we all know we are basically empty space. I mean, our physical body just appears that way. So when we bring another frequency into that frequency of the body, of course it will influence us. It will balance something. And I mean, the whole field of energy medicine is really growing these days. So gemstones are just one facet of that. And because I've been a jeweler for over 30 years and an astrologer, of course, it was very interesting for me to make a connection there. So that's kind of my life work. I wrote a book about it. You mentioned it, Jewelry and Gems of Self-Discovery, where I describe more about how it works and why it works. And I actually created what I call the Gemstone Profile Report. You can order it for $20, and it will give you one perfectly harmonizing, healing, aligned stone for each of your planets in your chart. So, for example, we talked about your Venus-Neptune before. If you want to support your heart and how you reach out and balance that, then, for example, Neptune-Venus could be the ruby for you. Ruby is a stone which is a stone of unconditional love. It's a stone where we open beyond our own small little ego identity. So if you would wear the ruby, that would support the mission of your heart, so to speak. And then if you know this is a stone for your heart, it does another thing. It becomes a focus for your unconsciousness. So even if you don't look at your ruby ring every time and say, oh, this is opening my heart and supports me in finding my true mate, but unconsciously the information was loaded, so to speak, once before. So then whenever you wear that ring, your unconsciousness will correlate with that. So with gemstones, when you work with gemstones, you always have two layers. One is the frequency, and it kind of does something when you bring it into your field. And the other is that you're going to use it as an anchor. In NLP, we talk a lot about anchoring certain states of consciousness or emotions to support ourselves. So you can use gemstones to anchor certain aspects you want to support. So, working with gemstones, you have so many possibilities. You can use them for meditation. So you can lay down, put certain crystals and gems on your body, on your chakras, and that's actually really, really helpful because it really helps you to sink down and go into the zone, connect with the ocean consciousness, as I call it. And lots of Westerners, we know it's good for us to meditate, to calm our mind, to get out of stress response reactivity. But often we don't know how to meditate, because if we just sit down, it's often really hard to calm the mind, because if you sit down, often the monkey mind goes crazy. So it's often very helpful for us Westerners to meditate with crystals, to just lay down, and the crystals help us to sink down into an expanded state of consciousness. So if you haven't tried that yet, I would suggest play around with crystals you have laying around at home, or get some, and then if you get the gemstone profile, then you really know which are your most healing gemstones. And those are usually really good to buy first, and especially if you want to buy jewelry, you want to first start out with the gemstones which are truly important for you. So that's why when I was still working as a jeweler, I created the gemstone profile to help my people, my clients, to find the truly important stones. And then, of course, there are always stones we find beautiful and we're attracted to in the moment. And they have a quality as well, but maybe not that depth of balance, real, true parts in ourselves which need the support. So the stones we are attracted to in the moment are more like where we are in right that moment, and you can play with it and you can use it for meditation. But for jewelry, I think it's still the best way to have a gemstone profile, to really know what you're doing.
Wow, thank you so much. It's been so great having you on the show, Shakti. And I wish there was time for you to share everything about all of your offerings. I know you can easily just look up Shakti Navran on the web, but I'll add a little bit more after the break. So you've been listening to The Oracle, a voice of positive planetary change on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. I'm your host, Aurora Juliana Ariel. And when we get back, I'll do the wrap-up and let you know some of the offerings I have that are ready for all of you and things that could be helpful. So stay tuned.
Have you been dreaming of that ideal getaway? A sacred adventure where you are completely restored and renewed. Join Dr. Aurora Juliana Ariel for her Mastery Intensive Red Rock Adventure in Sedona in May, or the Oracle Sacred Destiny Cruise through the ancient temples of Italy, Greece, and Turkey in September. Want to know what to expect in the coming times? Read her award-winning Earth 2012 to 33 books. Sign up for her newsletter to stay abreast of all her offerings, healing specials, Earth 2012 to 33 updates, insights from the Oracle, secrets of eternal youth, and more at AuroraJulianaAriel.com. Ready to realize a greater potential? Experience her 33-day self-actualization programs, healing music for an awakening world, or healing activations available under products. Ready for a total life transformation? Sign up for her 1-year program. Want a distance healing from Aurora? Check out her virtual healing center with its wide array of healing modalities and skilled healers under Healing Menu at sacredalchemy.com.
Welcome back to the Oracle, a voice of positive planetary change, broadcasting live on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Aurora Juliana Ariel, and my guest, Shakti Navran, has a host of amazing wisdom and offerings, and we could barely just touch the surface of her knowledge, her skills, and abilities. So do Google her, Shakti Navran, and see about her Master Astrology Academy and trainings and courses, as well as readings, her books. You can get gems. You can get a reading and then get gems to go with your astrology and help support you in every way. And if you want to know more about love and your love life, she seems to have some really great insights. So I want to let you know that next week's show is on romancing the beloved, how to bring romance back into your life. And my guests, Tomas and Joan Hartfield, PhD, are really good friends of mine from the island of Maui as well. They're the founders of Talking Hearts, a heart-centered approach to sacred sexuality, communication, relationships, and spiritual evolution. We're going to have such a great time. These guys are the icon for the beloved relationship. They have mastered it. So I hope you'll join me. And if you love all these topics and what this show is all about, bringing you good news and some of these exciting elements happening today, please look at all my offerings at aurorajulianaariel.com. You can sign up for my monthly newsletter and receive my free book, The Quest, Heal Your Life, Change Your Destiny, as well as 50% off on any healing session with me for 33 days. And if you're wanting a sacred adventure that is a total life transformation, you can join me in May for my Mastery Intensive. And we're going to be going into the quest as well, how to heal your life, change your destiny, actualize your fullest potential, live that highest destiny potential, and level 2, how to use it in your relationships for your own advancement. Or you can come on this amazing cruise I'm doing in September. It's the Oracle Sacred Destiny Tour through the ancient temples of Italy and the islands in Greece. So if you're feeling a calling and you want to know more about sacred alchemy and the path of the sacred alchemist, the art of sacred alchemy, let me know, and I'd love to include you in that. I also hold global healing forums the second Saturday of each month. So we have a really exciting one coming up of the cornucopia of wealth, divine activation on this Saturday. And you can find out more about that on the Facebook group, the Global Healing Forum Facebook group. It's really, really exciting release and freedom of human programs that have caused us financial issues. And so blocks, barriers, and patterns are going to be cleared and helping you be in your next level of your authentic self, which is the miracle consciousness. And it's the state of consciousness I call true wealth, and that helps you manifest an abundant life. So I'm just really, really grateful to all of you for tuning in and spreading the word for me. I have a lot of updates and links to forums and all kinds of offerings, and a virtual healing temple that has really amazing healers, my graduates, to serve you and our communities across the world. And so you can find out all that again in my newsletter. And I am really excited to continue on here. We have a lot of more topics on what's really happening on the planet, what's happening behind the scenes, and things that you might want to know if you've been tuning into the blaring news of all the bad stuff. So stay tuned with me. I'm Aurora Juliana Ariel. We've been broadcasting live on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. and you've been listening to The Oracle, a voice of positive planetary change. I hope to see you next week. Take care and many blessings.
This has been The Oracle with your host, Dr. Aurora Juliana Ariel. Come join us and listen each week for conscious shifting and a deep and greater awareness on Dr. Aurora Ariel's The Oracle.
You've been listening to the BBM Global Network. The ideas, views, and opinions of this broadcast are those of the participants of the program and are not necessarily the ideas, views, and opinions of the BBM Global Network Company.